Journal? No, that's not right. Memoirs. Not quite right either. Notes? Yes, notes. That'll work for now. These are my notes. I'm Tiv, and until very recently, I was on a boat heading north for the Bastion Frontier, and by the gods is it cold here. Quickly after arriving, we departed the boat and were greeted by the Lady Honora Bastion. She's a lovely lady overall, and the area itself was named after her husband, who has done quite a bit for the area, as I am to understand. But I soon found myself going to the local inn and pub, along with a few others from the boat. I wanted warmth, and they wanted drinks. One is a female tiefling named Nowhere. Another is a tabaxi named He Who Walks in Shadows. Odd naming conventions for both of them, I know. And the last is named Tool, and she is a rather odd gnome who, well, she keeps touching my leg. Anyways, we head out to the Bastion's house, and on the way, there was a young boy sitting on the tree who we later learned was one of the sons of the Bastions, and he tossed a flask at He Who Walks in Shadows, who, to my surprise, caught it and handed it back to the boy. That was rather nice of him, rather than giving him a lashing or something like that. Oh, and I mean verbal, of course. I don't condone violence. But, we continue on to the Bastion's house, and we found that there was a rather standoffish tiefling man. He tried to turn us away. Can't quite remember his name. It was one of those odd tiefling names, and I don't care to remember. People are so rude. But luckily, Lady Honora showed up, and she let us in to discuss job opportunities. One of them was a mine that had stopped responding to them, and thankfully Tool, of course, decided that we were going to go for that, because, well, I couldn't decide, and it seemed like it should go rather smooth. No violence, I hope. But, I had convinced Lady Bastion to give us some more money up front, because, well, we need supplies for the trip. And soon the next morning we left. The first day of travel went well overall. Oh, I also found out that Nowhere is a druid. I had no idea that such things existed. I lived most of my life in a city so far, but they do odd things such as talk to the sky, which I've never seen personally before, but she acted as if it was completely normal, and she predicted the weather. I have not met anyone who could do that. It was impressive. So obviously I began writing down things, asking her questions and whatnot, and not much longer, or rather hours later, I couldn't tell, I get kind of into those sort of things, we found ourselves in a little town, and found another inn/tavern kind of place. All it had was a mug hanging outside. He Who Walks in Shadows, of course, began telling stories right away to gain free stay for himself. It would have been nice if he could have secured free stay for all of us, but one is not bad. Anyways, it was comfortable, as much as hay can be comfortable, but the next morning there was a dragonborn in the tavern with us, and Tool, for some reason, seemed quite angry at him. I don't know if they've met before, but she mentioned murder, or someone else did. Anyways, I fear for any dragonborn that will come across us later. But thankfully we left soon after that, and along our walk we saw a herd of mammoths. Beautiful creatures, all of them stunning, giant and terrifying, but beautiful. Thankfully none of us provoked them, and there was even a straggler a few hundred feet behind the rest, smaller than the rest, but still amazing to watch. We kept walking for most of the day, and as evening began to come on, when suddenly out of some nearby trees a wolf thing charged me. I wasn't quite prepared for it, and as was established beforehand with my companions, I may have passed out, as I do in all of these situations. Thankfully, my companions are more reliable, and perhaps they had some help from my mysterious guardian. I'm not quite sure, they didn't mention it later, but when I awoke, the creature had been caught, and I quickly found out that there were 3 other people here who seemed to have helped with the fight. Their names were Shadow, dirt and a more normal name that I can't seem to remember at the moment. But on top of that, it seems I was clawed and bitten, and then I was given a potion to ensure that I wouldn't turn into one of those werewolf things. I drank it, although I'm not sure if it had any kind of effect or not, but it was very gross, just terrible. Ugh. They took the creature, and we moved a bit down the road away from all of the blood before settling in for the night. And Nowhere tried to do this survival trick where she buries fire and almost burnt down their whole tent. It's thankfully she's a druid who can put out fire somehow. Still not quite sure on that. But they later all gathered in where I was staying with He Who Walks in Shadows, and they asked me about my past, which of course I told them I don't have anything to hide. And well, I hope that will work for this set of notes. Yes. Goodbye.